Hello, everyone, and welcome to Collective Intelligence Block Party number 21. This is our 21st block party, which means that in theory, we cross hour number 500 hours of block party by the end of today, and haven't missed a weekend yet. Today, or in 24 hours, tomorrow morning, we're going to kick off what we call the conversation. And the conversation is really, and I really want So to be here for now. So, when you get back, I just have one request. Give me a sign. Let me know you're here. 'Cause it's getting pretty screwed up there in the atmosphere. These human beings are emitting too many greenhouse gases, and we are all starting to look like a bunch of asses. And I calling all you angels. So just show me a sign. So when you're back, whenever you're back. Thanks, James. But anyway, the conversation it's just a brand. And what it stands for is a network of conversations. And that network of conversations, while it's, a really big concept for a lot of people to think about, and I'm talking about the planetary network of conversations, and integrated, and to use a term Brett uses a lot, coherent, an integrated, coherent network of conversations, which collectively makes sense of what the heck is going on here. Number one, what's going on? And what do you do after you've made sense of something? You figure out what to do, right? So there's collective sense making and then collective action. Right now we have neither. We have neither collective sense making nor collective action. We have 8 billion primates metaphorically roaming around with a club in one hand, a stick in another, looking to freaking do some damage and dominate, because that was the effed up story we were born into. It's kill or be killed. It's take or have taken from you. Which side are you going to end up on, right? So we're born into this freaking crazy, insane asylum of a planet where we have to essentially go insane just to survive, right? I go back to the analogy of a little kid born in the poorest, most violent Brazilian favela, whether Sao Paulo or Rio. I don't know where the worst are, but I know they're pretty uniformly bad. The kid's born in there, right? And to sing from a song from around 1980. First, let me welcome Vince. Welcome, Vince. We're hanging here. We are recording and live streaming. I always like to let people know that. And we can always pause recording at any time. So if at any moment you're like, wait a second, I'm not cool, just do this, or just say, hey, please pause. It's not a problem. Never a problem. We're live streaming on Twitch as well. Anyway, we're just having a pretty cool conversation that spans collective intelligence and solving the world's problems. And we don't have a lot of rules or, bureaucracy here, but we do have a few rules, and it's really around just safety and comfort for everyone here. And so one of those rules is there's never any pressure to speak. It's totally fine to just show up here and just hang out. And as the moderator here, part of my job is to enforce the rules. And so if anyone ever tries to put anyone else on the spot or say, okay, well, what do you think about this? Or what's your position on that? I will actually step in and say, hey, it's okay to ask questions, but it's not okay to put anyone on the spot or anything like that. So just so people know the ground rules. Having said all those disclaimers, love to hear from you, Vince, whatever's good for you. I know you're eating, so buen provecho, and just jump in anytime. This is a very open community and forum here.
I just want to make sure I got in at the right time. Are we about to start about the K-Mama app? Is that the meeting that we're about to do?
Exactly. Food healers. yeah, we're kind of on the tail end of the previous conversation, and we got Ray showing up from Toronto. Welcome, Ray. And I'm sure we'll have Silas here on very shortly, and then we'll kind of shift gears to that. But in the meantime,
Damon,
yeah.
I just want to say I resent being characterized as running around the planet with a stick when I really run around the planet with a smartphone.
Okay.
I am a domesticated primate, Damon,
You are indeed.
and my bone has transformed into a smartphone around 2001.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
Nonetheless.
Totally. Anyway, Vince,
Nonetheless,
go ahead.
nonetheless, you'll still have to beat someone with it.
Right.
Smartphone does not make smart person.
Oh no, nor a smart society. Anyway, when you joined, Vince, I was just, and welcome Ray from Toronto. When you joined, I was just kind of in the middle of a monologue about being born into this crazy world where we, in order to survive, we essentially have to become one of the villains, right? And so thank you, Vince. And here we are.
We're forced to play the game on some level.
Exactly.
Everybody is both oppressed and oppressor. That's kind of the way I see it. We all play both roles. And it kind of stinks that it's like this.
Totally. So for me, this venue here, to which everyone is welcome, is like an island of sanity. I'll call it an island of sanity under construction, right? Because anyway, yeah, it's under construction because we're living in both worlds. We're living in two worlds now, if not more. So this is the Collective Intelligence Block Party, as I'm sure everyone here knows, and this is the 21st Block Party, and it's really just originally conceived of as a place where people who are working on different aspects of collective intelligence or different solutions to the world's problems can come together and basically do it together rather than, staying so separate. And, obviously there's going to be different projects going on here, there, and everywhere, but I figured a weekly 24-hour collective intelligence block party that is therefore time zone friendly to the entire planet in a very uniform way. People can just jump in whenever they feel like it. It just felt like the thing to do. And now what we're doing is starting 23 hours from now, 24 hours after the block party starts, that's the end of the block party, and it will also be the beginning of something new that we're co-creating here called The Conversation. And The Conversation, different from what it sounds, is actually a network of conversations, which, the world is so big, so complex. We have so many problems, so many solutions, so many revolutions, so many paradigms, so many everything, that we really need a whole network of conversations. I'll just say appropriately structured, and there's gobs to say about all that, with which to collectively make sense, right, of everything relevant, and also work towards collective action. So I think of it as this vast network where ultimately, let's just say half the planet, half of humanity, 4 billion people, will ultimately be engaged in one conversation or another as part of the network. Hard to imagine now since we're so fragmented, but either we're going to get together and figure this out together in some collective way, or we're going to continue to go down the tubes, as I think they said in the American Revolution, or I forget which one. Either we hang together or we will hang separately. So it's up to us. And this is us making a valiant attempt to hang together. And, whereas the block party up till now has been really a kind of a monolith. We're all in the same room, monolith in that sense. The conversation really from the get-go seeks to be a network, but it's a network with a hub and spoke architecture so that the hub is a single room, a single Zoom video conference whose number one priority in life is to welcome people who arrive and introduce them to the network, but in a very personal way. Introduce them through conversation. Hey, welcome, how you doing? I'll just use you as an example, Vince, since you seem pretty dialed in and pretty game. Vince, hey, welcome. Hey, here's what we're doing here, blah, 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 yada, 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 yada. As opposed to, here's a blue link to click on, Vince. Click on it, and good luck navigating the maze.
You
Right?
made me feel very welcome, James. Within 2 seconds, I knew I belonged here. So good job.
Dude, thank you. And, you know, of all the problems we have in the world, which are massive, one of the things that we have going for us is that we are human and we are able to connect and mirror and empathize and all these wonderful things and form just incredible combinations of humans doing amazing things, whether it's building pyramids in Egypt or putting people on the moon. I mean, just ridiculous stuff, or creating computers that enable us to do this. I mean, it's just like, whoa. And it's this very platform. I mean, just imagine half of humanity, you know, perhaps spending on average 2 hours per week on video conferences on stuff that matters in a way that's integrated, in a way that's coherent. And I'd love for Brett to talk about coherence whenever Brett is game. And by the way, Vince, where are you located, if you don't mind my asking?
I'm in Kansas City.
Kansas City. I actually would have guessed the Midwest. My whole dad's side of the family is from southeastern Ohio, which is Midwest Appalachia. So I've got good cracker boy DNA in me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is all like the barbecue, you know, capital, all that kind of stuff. Us
Yeah.
in Texas. So, but you know, there's that. There's some good vegan barbecue. There's a little pop-up company called the Peaceful Pig around here, and they have their stuff's pretty good. So we can find it. It's getting there. There's actually a lot of vegan businesses around here, surprisingly. It's like all over. I mean, I know a lot of them personally, are friends of mine, but it's getting, you know, there's definitely a culture here. But yeah, but then there's definitely the, you know, flame grilled, you know, meat culture here as well. Pretty big. So we're working on it.
Cool. Awesome. All righty. So anyway, that's right. I was inviting Brett to talk about coherence, or whatever you want to talk about, Brett, if it's a good time.
Yeah. Well, I want to share my enthusiasm and happiness for the conversation and to celebrate this momentous occasion of really shifting to closer steps to what you are. I'm using you, Jamin, it's all of us, but I also believe in like you've had this creative there's this thing called creative authority, like this source point. Like you're the source point for me in my space. I know maybe around the world other people have the same idea as you, but in my space, you're the person that was like, no, want to do this. We need to create this. We need to have this. So I'm super happy for you, meaning for us, and also very grateful that you did it like through us, with us, and everyone, because I can't do everything. You can't build software like I'm doing potentially, or Togetherland, or this or that. We can't all do everything all the time. So I feel really excited and happy that you found some people, it looks like through World Unity Week, who've sort of demonstrated this open Zoom room space and the Trello board, which can be all better, but it was still well done considering it was all thrown together, and that it was a good prototype. So I'm super excited that you've manifested the next step, which is all I ever wanted. Like, let's get on with it. Like, what's the next step? So I'm really glad and excited for the next step, because we already know the end game, as my friend was saying, we kind of know X, Y, Z. Like we know 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, whatever it is, all of these things start to converge. Like we were saying, AI, the Seeds platform, the app that we're going to build, DAOs, DAX, all of this stuff. Like it all starts to converge. And this is such a key piece to have these conversations network together, and eventually the taxonomy that you've mentioned and the database and the AI. And for me, that's again, since I kind of like technology, where my head normally goes to, like, wow, like this is going to be really, to use my old fashioned word, this is going to be really sick. It's going to be really dope, sick, whatever. Like when there's thousands of Zoom conversations happening and they're getting transcribed and connected. I've talked about our work, which was really coming from this famous visionary Barbara Marx Hubbard, who brought the idea of a synergy engine, really going from a search. Well, she didn't, when she first created the idea, it wasn't a search engine comparison, because I think it was before the internet, really. Quite often in our spaces, we talk about the synergy engine compared to the search engine, which on a basic level is mapping, tracking, and connecting all of the solutions in the world. That's what she was talking about 20 years ago, 30 years ago, that we need a peace room instead of a war room, right? They have a war room in the Pentagon for all of the mapping and tracking and strategizing. She's like, we need a peace room. And in the peace room, we will map, track, and connect all the golden innovations on the planet. Golden innovations was coined by another woman. Pardon me, I can't remember her name right now. But a golden innovation is sort of an innovation that shifts an entire paradigm. And it's something that's already working. And if it was done better with more resources and everything, it would shift an entire industry compared to just like, an innovation like a vacuum cleaner that cleans your house. There's an innovation like solar radiation management or a synergy engine changes a whole paradigm or changes a whole industry. So for me, that's always the exciting thing. Like that's where we're going when we network. We have a network of conversations. We have a network of genius in all these different dimensions and all these different sectors of life and creativity and innovation. And this is a tipping point, really, because there has to be some level of, like you said, some level of unified, coherent effort, which doesn't mean people's projects or dreams have to get lost in the shuffle like the Borg or something. But it's always this fine dance of unification and individual expression working simultaneously. They're not really two things. They're two sides of the same coin. So number one, I'm just super excited that it's on now, because now people will start seeing other possibilities. And just the first thing, like World Unity Week, when we have that web page for the conversation and there's all those different buttons and it's like, here's a conversation on vegan, here's a conversation happening here. And then this conversation on vegan actually breaks into 4 different conversations, one on vegan this, one here, one this. Like then there's the technologists all come together. It's going to be massively awesome. So it's amazing. And coherence is a buzzword around my spaces. Spiritually speaking, scientifically speaking, co-creatively speaking, it's kind of the buzzword going around that we want to be coherent together, because islands of coherence that come together create super coherence. So super radical, collective intelligence also goes hand in hand with super coherence. As those network of conversations become like an organism, each cell is coherent. Cells with cells creates super coherent, super coherent, super coherence, and that's sort of the laser focus. If you think about coherence and being in lockstep with each other, and it really all begins with each one of us becoming coherent in our own self. So we have a saying, whole people create whole systems. So right up the scale from each one of us individually all the way up to the planetary fractal organism, as we say. So super happy for that, and to be part of it and to figure out stuff and to reconnect with you on the back end, because we're going to start building an app at some point which is complementary to that. And I'm already thinking like at some point we go with you and we go to the Zoom people actually and say, help us use your technology, with this app and this mission of conversations, and give us a discount or nonprofit thing, and give us your API stuff that you normally have to pay for, blah, blah, blah. And like work with us here, to integrate Zoom like into this application. So we're now able to like map and track these conversations basically and invite people in and onboard them into conversations through onboarding them. Also, like, what is your passion? What are you here to do? And now you have this network of conversations to bring that clarity into, and then there's the synergy engine matching all of you based on your skills, your passions, your astrology, and your mission and the conversation. Now you're getting super coherence in that way because people aren't wasting their time. They know exactly where they're supposed to be, the best way they can be of service. And from our point of view, our platform has a resource based like mother gift fund to help people actually receive what they need in all ways to deliver the things that they're here to deliver. So we're going to also like flip the whole economics and, you know, whatever. It's all going to be this platform of co-creativity basically. So, and then there's a million other people like Holochain and all these other projects and blah, 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 that for me is all converging. So thank you for making this part of the puzzle happen.
Oh my goodness. Go ahead, Brett. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It is my honor, pleasure, and wouldn't happen without all of you, right? And so it's really about all of us coming together. Speaking of which, welcome, Silas. And we're now ready to kick off Food Healers. So when everyone's ready, I will stop the present recording, start a new one for Food Healers, and we can talk about whatever we want, including all the big super intelligent stuff, because it's all one big thing, right? We're not going to solve the food problem without our brains, right? So we might as well apply our brains in an intelligent, organized way. All righty. So with that, I'm going to stop this recording and